capitalism. This is not free market supply and demand. Okay, your cost of living should go down. Your currency should be worth more. That's the reason why it's called progress. That we are finding easier and easier methods to provide not only the things we need, which is crucial, but the things we want, which is also important to us. We want what we want. And if we're able to invent those things and innovate those things and create those things, build them, then we should have the things we want. There's nothing wrong with that. People don't mind building sailboats all day. There's no reason why if we wanted, we all couldn't have sailboats, or people enjoy their job building jet planes all day. There's no reason in the world. That's prosperity. That's what I'm saying, folks, is that we can have all the material goodies in conjunction with the more important prosperity, that is freedom and security. So we've been taken, we've been duped, we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled, and we've got to understand to what degree that has happened and what it's going to take to get back on track. And mainly, we've just got to be relentless and just keep speaking truth to power. That, don't let the mainstream media get away with a lot of BS. We've got to stand against these people and say, why aren't you talking about these things? Why are you always trying to blame, the workers for needing pay increases? Why don't you talk about what's happened to our currency? And that if minimum wage was the equivalent of what it was 50 years ago, which was about $1.50 an hour, then it would be close to $30 an hour. And I'm not using hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. That's the reality. That's how far we've fallen, folks. They've done this incrementally. If they tried to do that overnight, there's no way. The people would revolt. So that's why they've known they've had to do this like a frog in water. Just turn up the heat slowly so you don't even know. You're confused. The economic issues are too difficult. They've convoluted them intentionally, so it's very hard to understand. But really, when it comes down to it, it's simple. And this wealth disparity that has been occurring my whole life is not what natural capitalism does. It's not what natural markets do. This is invented and created, manufactured, engineered to be this way. And we're in a lot of trouble. And if we don't say stop, no, 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 we're going to keep getting more and more and more of it, okay? And the problems are just going to get worse and worse and worse. So we've got to stand up against these powers that be and speak truth to them. And you know what? It doesn't matter if it makes them miserable. That's too bad. And if they want to kill me or you or anybody else, that's too bad. We have to be ready to lay down our lives. This issue is serious. If you think the economic issue isn't serious, look at the dubious war. This is how they get away with it. They've got people scared. They've got people hungry. They've got people by the throat. They depend on money. We need money. Okay, these soldiers are conscripted. They're being taken advantage of. Yes, they're valiant and they're noble, and they believe that they're defenders and the protectors and fighting for the innocents and freedom for America and all this stuff. But we're all being duped and hoodwinked, and this is serious stuff, man. This is life and death. So if they want to take my life because they don't like the way I speak truth to power, so be it. Let the chips fall where they will. I believe in God. I believe in the resurrection of the dead. I believe God can as easily give me a new body as he gave me the body I have. And I would hope that everybody out there had that same belief. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily courageous. It just means I'm not a coward. It just means I say, you know what? A man does what a man's got to do. A woman does what a woman's got to do. And that's it. And you know what? If my life is worth anything, in the long run, then I've got to do these things. I've got to keep speaking up. Whether anybody listens to me or not, I've got to keep speaking out. I've got to keep on telling people the way it could be and put that in contrast to the way it is. And to see how this didn't happen overnight. They couldn't have gotten away with this overnight. This happened over decades upon decades. There's been great revolts in history. How do you think America got established? How do you think we were the most egalitarian nation on the face of the earth at one point? Is because we had decent, righteous people in charge, drawing up the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and standing for noble causes like we the people, saying, these are your bosses. It's not a bunch of noblemen, aristocrats, politicians, and lawmakers at the top. No, those people are, you're equal to them. So they've got, one vote, you've got one vote. We're going to have this the way we the people want, but they've taken over. They had a coup d'etat, and that happened in 1963 with the assassination of JFK. And the reason they hated him was because he was going to abolish the Federal Reserve bankers' power, private interest, no more federal than the delivery service, and they weren't having any part in that. Okay, that's it. We've got to get rid of this guy. He's a threat to our monopoly on the money printing rights. Okay, so if you want to know what's happened here and how it happened, who did it, then you've got to go to these top dogs, the ones that don't even answer to the president. Okay, that's who we've got to investigate. And all this, the weather is changing. This philosophy that this is what it's all about now. This is to help you understand why we've got to oppress you and impoverish you. It's so that you can use less energy, and this is in order to save the earth. Do you understand how this is? It's so, there's not words to describe it. It's reprehensible is to put it mildly. This is appalling. It's an abomination. It's repugnant. It's repulsive. Okay, it's intolerable, it's unnerving, it's insufferable what these people are doing to us and have done to us. We're already there. Okay, America is broken, and if America is broken, the whole planet is broken. So how are we going to turn this thing around? It's going to be like pulling teeth, folks. Do you think like I said earlier, do you think the landlords want to let you go from being out from under their thumb? Do you think they, how many of these landlords are opposed to the return of Jesus? How many homeowners, if it means that they lose all the equity in their house? How many innocent homeowners out there are opposed to the return of Jesus if that's what's going to happen? How about all the real estate agents say, I love these high commissions. I don't care how the prices got high. I like to make all these high commissions. Or how about the money lenders, huh? Or how about the government politicians who like the high tax base? All these people are, you know what? It's bad news. When Jesus returns, and he will, with this host of holy angels, it's written that this is called the great and terrible day of the Lord. So this is a great day for some, but a terrible day for others. So if you are on the side of decency, righteousness, and if you're on the side of justice, and basically on the side of humanity, and you want good for not some people, but you want good to prevail for everybody, you realize that that's what's going to really make you happy, when everybody on the face of the earth is happy and free, okay, and secure and prosperous, okay? That's what's really going to make you happy. Then you are going to be very happy at what is coming upon the world. And it's coming soon. I don't know how long, maybe, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know exactly. But if things are unfolding the way so many people have devoted their lives to the study of Bible prophecy, if things are really happening like that, like it's prophesied in Scripture, then we are down to the wire, okay? Then it is imminent that this whole thing is going to change. The worm is going to turn, and we're going to see this sea change that's going to be traumatic for everybody, including me, okay? Because, it's going from night to day, literally. It's taking our reality and changing it completely overnight. It goes so far in the Scriptures to say that at this renewal of all things, because this is the period when everything starts changing, that there is this generation that's spoken of that will never taste death. Can you imagine that your body turns from being mortal, a body of death, to immortal, just like that? In the twinkling of an eye, this happens. But God has that kind of power, and all you have to do is believe these things are possible. But things can change very rapidly. God is a very powerful God. And he's got control over things like life and death, and the atomic structure of your body, and things like gravity and disease. All these things he's in control of. So the idea that he's, going to abolish, money, the whole concept is going to be gone. It's going to be a thing of the past, history, just a historical thing we can look back on. Horror of the ages. And we're never going to go there again. It's not going to exist on the face of the earth. You can see just what a dramatic change that's going to be, but that's what's going to happen. And that's not going to be hard to believe. When you see all the other powers that God has, the idea that he's going to abolish money from the face of the earth and all those lovers therein, they've got to go to that more painful place. If they love the things of this world, their lives in this world, more than they love God and the things of God, there's only one choice God has. It's not because he's a big meanie, but that's the fair thing to do. He separates the wicked from the righteous, so the righteous can live in freedom and safety and security and prosperity. And so the wicked can go and learn what they need to learn in a more painful, apropos place for them known as hell. And so, I didn't get into reading Adam Smith here. I see my tape is running out, but I'm going to plan on doing that here in the future and give some quotes. But I'll end with this tape with one quick one. From Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, Chapter 10. The whole of the advantages and disadvantages of the different employments of labor and stock must in the same neighborhood be either perfectly equal or continually tending to equality. If in the same neighborhood there was an employment evidently either more or less advantageous than the rest, so many people would crowd into it that in the one case and so many would desert it in the other that its advantages would soon return to the level of other employments. You understand that everything is rigged. We've got a system of education where, if you meet these credentials and, you've given this special treatment. But other people might actually be more qualified than you. The same thing goes for licensing and permitting. The people with the licenses and permit, they just have an advantage. They aren't necessarily the best. And so they get these, it's just like a baseball player. They make these millions, but really there might be better baseball players out there that haven't been discovered. And if they all crowded in, there'd be so much competition.